Hello formers, FlareBlitzed, and welcome back to this chess conundrum of Katawa Shoujo with Shizune's route well underway and Misha on the sidelines to support us as well, alongside with Shizune too. Things have returned to normal. Well, I transferred in at a pretty unusual time, and I can hardly say that I had a normal first few weeks here. I guess it's more like things have calmed down and reached normality. I've been here longer than I thought. Time seems to fly by when you don't think about how long you've been here, but you've been here for some time. It's hard not to think about all the stuff I must have missed in the school before my arrival, or the things that might have happened in my old school since I've been gone. I wonder where those things come from, since I didn't leave much behind. I have a lot more here than I like. If that wasn't the case, I wouldn't have bothered with something like student council, or Shizune and Misha. I'd be hard pressed to care about anything, if the school was how I imagined it would be. We haven't seen the teacher at all, or the nurse, within this game, within this route, at all. Or even, like, past stages of before getting into Shizune's route, before the animation played, so even this thing of a daily routine makes me glad in a way. I dread the amount of work that's going to hit me in student council after school, enough to want to consider stepping out of my duties just this once. Yet it's nice to feel like there is something I can do. Busy rather than bored. Shizune drops a stack of attendance sheets next to me. Thanks again for helping out. Thanks again, Hai-chan. Sure is a lot of work though. I had to skip out on sign language class again, but now I'm at a level where I can understand most of Shizune and Misha's conversations with each other, so I'm not too bothered by it. Shizune still doesn't know that, though. I'm determined to keep things that way until I'm very sure of my skills. Perhaps it's a little childish of me. Tanabana is in less than 5 days, but they're only going to start building the stores tomorrow. Hai-chan. We might have to help out with building stores again starting tomorrow. Why? What was the point of taking them apart then? That took days, didn't it? Yep, that's right, even though Hai-chan wasn't there for it. I would have helped out if you asked. It would have made sense to bore you with cleanup duty after you enjoyed the festival so much. It would have made sense to bore you with making you clean up right after the festival. It would have ruined the fun. Besides, Hai-chan is lazy anyway. You would have tried to run away again. Hai-chan doesn't like playing foxhound. That stings. Shizune covers her mouth with her hand and starts shaking. It takes me a second to realize she's laughing, most because she's doing so completely soundlessly. It's a little strange to see, but more or less the same good-spirited kind as Misha's without being eardrum piercing. That's a good question though, Hai-chan. Huh? Stores. It's a storage issue. The school doesn't have anywhere to store so many stools, since each one is pretty large. They won't pay for outside storage either, so this is what they decided on. It's inefficient but cheaper. Of course, cutting corners as they say. Because the school doesn't have anywhere to store that many stalls, Hai-chan. Yeah, right, they do, but they don't want to pay. Sorry, Sai-chan. It's because of the previous generation. Oh, what previous generation? Is it the teachers? The leadership decided that outdoor storage costs have risen too much, and the student council before us was too weak-willed to tell them that it's stupid to have to build and disassemble 60 stalls twice every year. Preposterous, okay? Hai-chan, let's eat something. It feels like we've been working all day. We have. Now that I think about it, I am hungry. So aside from the stacks of paper, we played chess and you call that a hard day's work. Okay. I would have had lunch, but it was really crowded today for some reason, so I decided it wasn't worth the trouble. It was like that today because they had some especially interesting things for sale on the side. Like what? No, don't tell me. I guess it doesn't matter, since I won't be able to eat them anyway. What can't you eat? Shizune looks oddly pleased with herself. I wonder what the context of that could be. I prepared ahead of this. beam with self-satisfaction, she produces a wide assortment of food from her bag. I can immediately see that 90% of it or more was taken from the lunchroom. There's a lot as well. Is there a limit to how much a person can buy? When they're saying they're buying on behalf of 3 people, then obviously they can buy more than the excess limit of 1 person. That means these gains are definitely ill-gotten. The veal cutlet bread is always sold out in the first minute of lunch. I'm impressed you managed to obtain one. Thank you. I reach for it quickly, but Shizune immediately makes a grab for it as well. Her hand got slick for a second when it did his mind, but she immediately pushed his forward for read or whatever, that blazing competitive spirit flashing dangerously in her eyes. Her fingers pry at mine, searching for an opening, while Misha is none the wiser. I don't budge an inch, prepared to fight for this bread with my life. I might never have another chance to eat this. I am fully aware if we continue like this, we could crush the bread, greatly reducing its edibility. I don't think that will change the context of the bread itself, it will just change the solidarity of it. Misha, tell her that unless she lets go, the bread is just going to be crushed. Why can't you do it yourself? I'm startled as she can so nonchalantly let it slip, but I can communicate with Shizune just fine if I wanted to. I always consider the possibility it was intentional, but I'm sure she was just distracted trying to tear the wrapper of the juice box. Isn't it obvious? I can't let go of the bread. I can't tell Shizune that then. She puts her palms up to the sky and shrugs, a wide grin on her face. Why not? Because you have a stake in this, so I can't trust you. If Shai-chan wants to reply, she has to let go of the bread, and then you'll win. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe that's what you want, Hai-chan. It wouldn't be so fair. I'm going to be neutral, like Switzerland. Oh, for goodness sakes. This isn't World War II, for goodness sakes. Do you know about Switzerland? Yes, I know about Switzerland. It's a landlocked country in Europe. Of course I do. It's neutral. They're neutral. She just stares at me cockily, the tip of her tongue sticking out slightly from between her teeth as she continues to tug firmly at the veal cutlet bread between us. Suddenly she lets go and holds her hands up, palming facing outwards, the universal gesture of peace. This seems like a poor way to settle this, doesn't it? And we might crush your bread. She glares, and her passive expression quickly plummets into a disapproving grimace. Hai-chan, drop the bread, we are negotiating now. I drop the bread reluctantly. Misha's hand darts in from the side, her fingers drumming across the table as it makes its way over. Haha, don't mind me, I don't even really like veal. I just take this sandwich right here and something to drink too. Picking them up cautiously, she immediately retreats. She has the right idea. I could just pick something else, but there's a lot of delicious things here. The chicken, katsudon bread is also a popular seller, ranking high in taste and demand. But I've already eaten that one before. But then there's this veal bread. You're so immature, Hisao. This wouldn't be a problem if you would pick something else. The chicken katsudon bread is delicious. Thanks. Goodness sakes. Why don't you pick the chicken katsudon bread instead? But I've already eaten that. Hai-chan, why are you so obsessed with eating the veal cutlet bread? Specifically. It's hard to get normally. Rare things are more delicious. Not necessarily. You are acting like a child. You're acting like a kid, Hai-chan. Why don't you eat the chicken bread? That's not important. Okay, then what is important then? Turning bright red, she smiles cunningly and continues. There is no reasoning with you, so it looks like there is only one way to settle this. We are going to play for it. That doesn't matter. We'll play for it instead. Somehow I expected this. It's the logical conclusion. Shizune has been studying for a long time, pretty much continuously up until now. With our finals over, I guess that surplus energy has to go somewhere. Play what? The oldest game known to man, upon which the fate of nations have been known to rest. Rock, paper, scissors. And this scene is called bread, scissors, paper? What? rock, paper, scissors. So, bread replaces rock for some odd reason. We'll play rock, paper, scissors. Really? That sounds so serious, Sai-chan. There's no humor in her expression. She is dead set on this. Okay. Okay. She draws her hand back and I mirror her. Go! We both put out rock. A draw. I thought I had the perfect plan. Rock is unbeatable. Shizune frowns, deeply upset by this unexpected turn of events. Not as planned. Again. 2 papers. Damn. Again. We both throw out 2 rocks again, but third hand is among us representing scissors. This is like fun. Can I play? No, because you don't want the bread. It's a duel, Sai-chan. Dually conduct. You're right. I really don't know. The faster she signs, the harder it is to follow. In fact, it looks like even Misha is having trouble keeping up. What's she talking about now? One more time. We tie again. Every time Shizune demands a rematch, eventually skipping that step altogether and throwing rock, paper or scissors out with increasingly reckless abandon. Even playing completely random, we continue to tie. This is a mathematical long shot. It's almost like these two are in sync. Misha hovers above us, watching it all and laughing each time we draw. After 16 rounds, what is the mathematical possibility that you can tie 16 times in rock, paper, scissors? Like, probably somebody in the comment section will be able to provide the answers for that. Shizune pushes her chair away from the table and stands up. What about if we just split the bread in half? Like, that would be the more logical solution. But is Shizune going to give up, or is her over-competitive nature going to get in the way again? Enough of this, Hai-chan. I see what I've been doing wrong. This will all be over in the next round, so brace yourself. Okay? Okay? I have studied your thought processes, and I see how you play. I'm anticipating your next move and will combat it expertly. This is all news to me, as I can't remember what we are doing this over. We're doing this for bread. That's how honest being. You've forgotten why you were doing this now. For veiled bread. Shizune grins confidently, a look of fearless daring on her face. Her cool eyes flash with pure competitive spirit as she draws her hand back, goading me wordlessly to do the same. Her form is amazing, like a professional bowler or something, just to throw a hand motion. 2 papers. I'm amazed with Shizune's expression. Like, this is mathematically impossible. I studied your every move, and yet you still somehow drew the same as me? Shizune's body immediately goes slack. As she rubs her temples with a look of exasperation on her face, she lets out a sigh so long it sounds like a tire deflating. I realise I've gotten a lot hungrier in the time we've been doing this. We can just split it. I break the bread in half and offer one half of it to Shizune. She takes it. Thank you. She looks at the bread in her hand, studying it. But this feels hollow, somehow. Regardless how she feels, she still eats it. And all of a sudden, I see Misha observing the scene out of the corner of my eye. Hey, Chan. That was very romantic, I think. Oh, come on. She laughs and takes a bite of her second sandwich. We eat in silence for a while. Shizune and I manage to avoid any other contests, and then we go back to work. These two are certainly egging each other on for more competitive spirits and drives. As I finish up the day's usual filing, I think to myself that this might be Shizune's way of trying to start this week on a high note. After all, tomorrow's when the real work will begin. And with her hands literally full building stores, she won't be able to talk very much. It will likely be pretty dull and tiring, like it was the first time around. I'm appreciative of her effort in that case. It's nice to have days like this as a way of enjoying yourself before the days ahead. I think that's her idea as well. I also remember that I still have to get rid of Kenji's package. The damn thing is bulky and somehow I'll never be able to track him down since I picked it up. After student council is adjourned for the day, I walk towards the vending machines to look for something to drink. Parting from Shizune and Misha is a short trip, but even after just a few seconds, I start to get the feeling I'm not alone. Miss you again. Guess who? Shizune? Wahaha, it's me, Hi-chan. Yeah, I know. Hi there. Then why'd you say it was Hi-chan? It's okay to be wrong sometimes, Hi-chan. You're too proud. Anyway, after student council, we don't usually have any plans, right? So you're just going to go straight to your dorm? Where else would I go? To the library? Okay, that's great. That's great, Hi-chan. I want to talk to you today, so this works out perfectly. 2 high school students, alone after classes in a quiet, empty building. As the sun dyes the sky a romantic amber color, the cute girl says that she wants to talk. What a secretive and appealing situation. My imagination is buzzing. It's likely not going to be anywhere near as exciting as I'm making it out to be. But it's fun to play it up that way, indeed it is. Indeed it is. Oh, the popping sound of my canned coffee opening destroys any chance of maintaining such a cheesy mood. Sound louder than I've ever thought imaginable. Well, it is amplified by the fact that A, it's an empty hallway, and B, the walls are quite close to one another, as it looks. Amplified by the context of the situation. I sigh disappointment and relief. So, what is it? Sign language. Oh, study. Oh, actually, I'm a little behind in some of my classes, and if I don't catch up, it could be a problem. I can't put it off any longer. My teacher said I really have to start taking things seriously, so I should listen, especially because this is the 3rd time. I'm sorry, Hi-chan. Why are you apologizing? You're about to ask us for our help. I won't be able to help you or Shai-chan with student council for a few days. It'll only be for 2 or 3 days, really. I'll definitely try and come back as soon as possible, but I can't say I'm happy about this. It's supposed to be getting really busy this week too, isn't it? That's some unfortunate timing. For a second I want to ask if maybe Shizune could pull some strings to get her out of it. There could be something else involved. Misha somehow anticipates that these two will be more buddy-buddy as time goes on. So therefore, you're not behind, but this is just a facade that you're pulling. But Misha looks so genuinely apologetic about it. It would be pretty dickish of me to say something like that. Besides, if she says it's something that can't be put off any longer, I'm inclined to believe her, considering how surprisingly serious she can be with student council duties. Yeah, I see. It's okay. You managed with just Shizune and yourself last year, didn't you? So I'm sure I'll be able to as well. Don't worry about it. Really? Thank you, Hi-chan. Really? Yay. I don't know Hi-chan would take it so well. I thought you would be worried with how things are going to be so much work, with Tanabata coming up and everything. Now she knows me oddly well. But Hi-chan's so composed. I'm glad. Is that what Shizune said? Yeah, you're sort of right. I was thinking about it, but it's not that big of a deal. I'm not going to freak out over that. It's going to be a little annoying passing that pad back and forth to talk to Shizune, though. Hi-chan, just tell Shai-chan that you can use sign language too. I don't understand why you won't. Not yet. I can understand most things already, but I want to be really sure. Actually, I wouldn't mind. The secrecy is killing me too, and it would be nice to be able to talk to her in a real conversation, but I just don't know my skills. My skills are not good enough. And of course, as well, there's the competitive nature of knowing more sign language when you let on. Don't worry, I'm going to have to tell her eventually. I want to. Actually, I'm trying to think of a good opportunity for it. That won't be a problem, Hi-chan. Why not? Well, because... what a surprise breaker that is. Like, why did you tell her? That was the whole idea of surprising someone, is that you don't tell them preemptively beforehand. Like, this is all just gone to ruin now. Misha won't be good at birthday parties, I can say that. She was worried about this. It was because I kind of told Shai-chan that you could understand her. She was worried about the same thing, that you wouldn't be able to understand each other, so I was worried, but it worked out fine in the end after all. I lose it. Did you know how stupid I look now? I sat there for like half the damn day acting like I couldn't read sign language. And are you seriously telling me that she knew the whole time I could? She was probably thinking, this guy's a complete jackass, pretending he couldn't understand me. I just made a total ass of myself. How could you let me do this? Misha frowns, seeming lost for words, and realizes that I'm taking this differently than she might have expected. She doesn't speak again until after seeing that I've calmed down. But Hai-chan, I think this is definitely... From your perspective, it might be, but not for us, she says without batting an eyelid, having waited patiently through my panic to say it. The cheerful delivery of her words makes it seem like she sliced out the time between when she dropped the bomb on me and now. It's pretty funny in a way. You have such a one-track mind, you know that? Yes! The damage is done. If Misha can believe that things will work out with such unflinching surety, then maybe it's worth giving it a chance. And if things don't work out, I'll run as fast as I possibly can. To try and make it up to me anyway, just in case, she offers to buy me another drink from the vending machine. It's a very small token of apology, like a small one, as wide as the camera goes. But I suppose it's the thought that counts, and the thoughts are sincere. Plus the free drinks, I accept it. Great. Just fantastic. If that eliminates the prospect of a surprise when somebody already tells you, oh hey brother, it's your 21st birthday, we're going to the Chinese down the road. Well, I didn't know that. Was it meant to be a surprise? Alright, yeah, I forgot about that one. I throw back my daily fistful of pills of a glass of water. After a solid 8 hours of sleep, which is more than what most people get on a day-to-day basis, I don't really know what I was so afraid of last night. As I chew a particularly large tablet in half, I continue to rationalize my worries away. Shizune knew I was taking sign language classes all day yesterday, and didn't make a big deal out of it. She might be mute, but that doesn't mean she can't make her feelings known. No, in fact, it seems like she's all the more direct for it. She doesn't beat around the bush or hold back. She always makes herself clear unapologetically, so there can be no mistakes. So if she wasn't mad then, it's unlikely she would be at all. And on top of that, I didn't do anything wrong anyway. But as that fear of mine recedes, the thought of spending a couple of days with Shizune without Misha takes its place. I hadn't really thought about it yesterday, but the idea becomes more and more intimidating. It's true that I can understand sign language pretty well, but I would definitely hesitate to say I can understand it above a basic level. And if she were to speed up her signing, which she does quite a bit, I don't think I can keep up. Signing too is not my strong suit. Doing both at the same time like Misha can is still a distant dream. Hi Jan! What? Don't forget, you said you would help out with building stores today behind the school after classes are over, okay? I know. Last time you helped out, Hai-chan, we really appreciated it. This time it's even more important, so skipping out is unforgivable, okay? I want to ask why that is, but there isn't any opportunity to. Besides, Misha is behind her class. It seems like a bad idea to distract her now that I know that. I can always ask her at lunch, which is what I end up doing. Can't you see that you can't put two and two together? Misha told Shizune that you've been taking sign language classes. Misha feels she would just get in the way if you don't start a conversation using sign language to Shizune. So the correlation of this is, she isn't behind, she just wants to see from afar how this conversation goes about. Because Hai-chan, a festival that celebrates a town, is exactly what it sounds like. It's to celebrate your home and its history. Tanabata is different. It's for wishes and lovers. That definitely makes it more important, doesn't it? Yeah, naturally it would be. Great. Do you have to put the word lovers in there, for goodness sakes? Is that what it's for, though? Hai-chan, you have no sense of fun. She puffs out her cheeks in displeasure before blowing the air out like a deflating balloon. You have to appreciate things like that. even if it's just an excuse to eat interesting things and dress up in the end. I'll be disappointed in you if you don't, okay? Before I can say anything, she turns to the side to inhale a croquette. Of course, that's what one does. After the classes, I meet Shizune behind the school, where it seems she already set everything up sometime yesterday. She greets me with a short wave, and then with a flourish of a hammer already in her hand, extends her arm towards the stores behind her, some of them already half completed, others still haphazard piles of boards bundled together with string. As time passes, I realize the pills can only do so much. I still get way more tired than should be normal. Lucky Shizune's back is to me, so I can afford to take a lot of breaks without having to worry about her wondering why. When I stop and think about it though, I sort of feel pretty guilty for taking advantage of her inability to hear that my hammer stopped banging. It's a terrible thing to be happy about. It is. Her work effort is admirable. It's obvious that it bores her and even annoys her, but she doesn't slacken her pace. When she gets tired nailing a store together with one arm, she switches to the other. Shizune. I feel like an idiot the second I say her name. I can't tell her what I think. There's a hammer in my hand as well, and in the end, I feel like I have to keep up with her. I can't slack off either, especially when it's just the two of us. There's no time to sign, no opportunity, not even for a compliment for a job well done. Even something as casual as that would require me to put my hammer down, to get her attention and then sign it to her. A simple gesture turned into something so needlessly complex, like a single footstep taken on a road that's longer than first imagined. I've known her long enough to know this, and still forgot it. The air is filled with the rhythmic knocking of nails being driven into wood. It's actually kind of nice, after a while, to pass the monotony of the task at hand. I try to match my hammer into Shizune's, then alternate to try and form a beat. Of course she doesn't notice. It makes me wonder, does the lack of sound make this work seem more drawn out and boring to her? Is it strange being able to hear the results of her actions even as she feels the vibrations through her fingers, or having no concept of sound doesn't bother her at all? Distracted, I didn't notice Shizune sneak up on me until her head pops into view. Taking a break? Yeah, I guess. Okay, let's do that. You can understand sign language. That makes it more convenient for both of us, even though you hid it from me. Why? Why what? Why did you decide to take sign language? Her eyes don't break from mine even for a second. If she needs to read my response, her peripheral vision is good enough. Once she has something in her gaze, she doesn't look away. It's strange how piercing her eyes can be, dark as a lake at night. Because I wanted to, it seemed like it would come in handy. And it did, didn't it? Yes. Sorry, I didn't catch any of that. See? This kind of thing still comes up now and then. I wish Mira was here. She has work to make up for, doesn't she? That might be partially my fault. Misha doesn't need supplemental lessons. Her grades aren't the best, but she understands how the decisions she makes affects others. That puts her ahead of many people. Especially certain... Don't talk about Lilly like that. She doesn't forget things easily. Your sign language is very good. You're learning oddly fast. I've been taking classes for a while now, and it's kind of easy to pick up after a while, through immersion or osmosis, that kind of thing. It's not too bad. And if I'm really stuck, Misha's there too. I guess I spoke too soon. I didn't understand any of that. Time to backpedal. Well, yes, actually not that easy. It's actually hard as hell, like trying to pick up broken glass. But I guess in some ways it's interesting as well. Like an adventure. Well, no. Picking up broken glass is not an adventure. Sure it is. It's just as challenging. If you use a dustpan and a broom, it's not. No, you've got to use your own hands, not any tools. I feel frustrated and sad. When I look up, I notice that she has a can of soda in her hand. Where did you... I forgot to sign it, but she understands anyway. Following my eyes and produces another one from behind her back, she tosses it in my direction. I catch it with both hands. I brought an extra one for you. Thank you, Shizune. She paused to slide her fingernail under the tab of her can and pop it open before setting it aside for a moment. If you're going to try and help me out so much, then I have to look out for you too. It's only natural. If you're going to learn sign language, that is something entirely different. I'm naturally going to be impressed. What separates the two is obligation. Yes. I'm very happy. She downs her drink in one go, obviously incredibly thirsty, stretches her arms behind her back and jumps to her feet. Okay, back to work. And like that, it's over. Shizune returns to her work with the same energy as before, the lingering trace of a smile on her face, the only evidence that she had taken a break at all. As I do the same, I think that Misha was right in saying everything would work out for the best. Everything so far seems to be going in that direction. It is getting darker and darker. Misha swings by as it starts to get darker, looking just as tired as I feel, and Shizune decides to stop for today. As we cover the day's work and go our separate ways, I look at how fluidly they talk to each other, and how easily they laugh together as they walk to their dorm. It makes me appreciate Misha's skill at sign language more. I wonder if I ever reach that level, or if I even will have the time to. Who knows where the future will bring us? Tomorrow is always a mystery, but today is always a present because we are living within the present. And the first thing I do this morning is trip once again over Kenji's package as I get out of bed, find myself diving headfirst into the floor before I'm even fully awake. Goodness sakes, I want to smack this thing with the first blunt object I can find if I'm going for a home run, but I don't have the energy for that this early in the morning, and it would likely damage whatever's inside, and that would be mean. But who is... I slide into the hallway and sails along the smooth floor with little difficulty and stops with a soft and almost inaudible thud on colliding with Kenji's door. Immediately a dozen locks unbolt in succession like a mounting symphony. I'm trying to run through my usual morning routine as quickly as possible. I check my watch again as I leave the dorms to see if I'm already late. Great! Fortunately, the rest of the day goes more smoothly, and after classes are over, I head to meet with Shizune again. Right behind the school, I catch her lean against a completed stand with parts of it still fleckled with bits of paper and tape, remnants of signs from the last time it was used, absent-mindedly spinning a nail in her hand. She hasn't noticed me yet. The temptation to sneak up on her is unbearable. Years of watching foreign wildlife documentaries have prepared me for this. Downward conditions are favourable. However, the more I think about it, more it seems like, yeah, it would be a bad idea. If I get caught halfway, I look like an idiot. And if she doesn't notice me, I could end up with an injury. Either way, I also look a little insensitive, so it probably would be best try not to do anything funny, as disappointing as it is. I walk in front of her, starting her a little. Why so surprised did I catch you slacking off? I don't even know sign language. No, I was taking a break. You didn't like you even broke a sweat. That's some break there, President. Shizune's eyes dart back and forth momentarily. I think I've managed to fluster her. There is exasperation in her face and no tension as well, but she can't back down. That would be unthinkable of her. Her fingers dance around each other impatiently. You're acting competitive today. Are you trying to get my blood boiling? Do you want to make it a contest? We're to see who can construct the most stalls by sundown. No, I'm teasing you, that's okay. It's not a real student council if you can't tease the student council president, little. You agree, don't you? That isn't in the student council charter, so it isn't true. There is no charter? At least I don't think there is. The only thing they pledge loyalty to are a stack of takeout menus. Anyway, it's good that you're finally here, even if you could have been earlier. Pick up a hammer and we'll resume where we left off. Excuse me, I had classes to attend to. As we work assembling stores again, I slowly realise that it's really much less work than I would have expected. In fact, according to Shizune, we should be done by the end of the day with a little luck. The last time I did something like this for them, it took her, Misha, and myself almost 4 days to do it. It can't be just my imagination. You know, this doesn't seem like that much work. Because it isn't. That answer leaves me wanting a little more. No, it isn't, but there, Shizune puts down her hammer to elaborate. It would be impossible for two people to do that much work in less than a week. The truth is that I don't dismantle half the stores. I just store them someplace else. Actually, the more I hide them in plain sight. She waggles her finger mischievously. But that's a secret, and it's not proper to reveal the tricks of the trade. Well, you just did that. You're not a magician. Winking, she takes out 2 plastic containers from her bag, then puts them down on a nearby board before raising her hands slightly as if to say, "Ta-da! I made lunch today for both of us. You can have this one. The food shifted in my bag, and now some of it is mixed together." This isn't going to be an indirect kiss, is it? She hands me one of the containers. I open it. It's delicious, if a little simple. Simple doesn't mean bad, though. She hands me a pair of chopsticks as if she just remembered to, and I eat what looked like some grilled beef. It's very tasty. You don't like your food touching other food? I do not. You're very picky. Sometimes I mix my food on my own, but not always and not everything. I don't like it when it's done for me. What is important is the choice. She points decisively to emphasize it, and then breaks her chopsticks apart to eat her own meal. As I continue to eat, I notice 2 things. The first is that almost everything I'm eating besides the rice is fried. Even the vegetables are fried. And there's so much meat. Does she eat this kind of stuff all the time? I wonder how she managed to stay so thin in spite of it. Activity! If you're always exercising, then I'm not a picture of health, for goodness sakes. The second thing I notice is that I can't talk to her while eating. Talking with your mouth full is a little rude anyway, but with our hands holding our chopsticks and bowls, communication between us is impossible, just like yesterday. Even though we're spending time together, even though I took the time to learn sign language, it feels like I'm talking to her less. Despite that, it also feels like I'm understanding her more. Lilly. I hear the sound of something tapping against one of the stands. Look up to see Lilly standing off to my side, feeling her way around with her cane. Hi. I narrowly catch myself before I can say, didn't see you there. Oh, hi, Hisao, is that you? I thought I smelled something delicious cooking, and wonder who it might be. What is she saying? It's hard to move my hands in parallel to saying something completely different to Lilly. This has to be why Misha just signs everything all the time. A bit sillier, but it seems like it would simplify things a lot. Now, we are the role of Misha when it comes to these 2. But also from their previous encounter, it would look like these 2 are somehow related? They're not in friendly terms to say, at the very least. One can't see and one can't hear, so it's very difficult to communicate. Shizune tenses her fingers delightfully at my translation, as if from hearing a joke. All of this was food. So all of this food was cooked hours ago, but for some, oh goodness sakes, you can't even turn in a piece of paper without being a week late. I guess your perception of time would have been a little different. That's not very nice. A frown crosses Lilly's face in response to a reply about something she didn't hear. Sorry, I'm just having a little late lunch here. The student council president cooked everything. Is student council president here right now? Yeah, that is the one you don't particularly like. She's right here. I apologize, I didn't notice. Normally her level of presence is much higher. I was not aware that the student council serves lunch outdoors. Why wasn't I invited? I think that it is good to have enough free time to be able to do things like this, however. What is she saying? If I were to invite you anywhere, you would just show up late. Will you stop doing that? But Shizune's words are outside of Lilly's perception, a fact that is by the second increasingly maddening to her. Translate for me completely, please. What polite phrasing. It's a shame she's essentially asking me to let her fully release the dogs of war. Still, I can't just do nothing. The thing of being unable to even respond and being understood is so isolating. She would never forgive me. I'll try to soften her words a little. Well, actually, this was all cooked a while ago. Really? That's nice. Turn her over. It's very disrespectful to not look at the person you're speaking to. That isn't the way a prime and proper lady should conduct herself. Do you not understand that Lilly can't see? Like, she can hear you, but it's quite difficult to know the exact position of said person talking. Half of what I'm saying is really what Shizune is saying. She doesn't like it when people don't look in her direction when she's trying to make a point. She's to the right of my voice. Although in this case I can understand why Lilly wouldn't. This is a very awkward situation and it's daunting being the sole conduit for dialogue between the two of them. We are Misha at this point. Truthfully, I had forgotten what happened the last time they butted heads like this. It's clear Shizune remembers, and Lilly is being pretty hostile herself in her own way. I'm sorry, such formalities slipped my mind completely. I forgot that the Student Council President is the type of person who would demand such respect and adhesion to the rules at all times. I suppose student government requires you to keep a tight ship. Then again, she certainly has time for her own fun as well, so it must not be completely true. Student Council is not a dictatorship, nor a zero-sum game. Shizune points at Lilly with her finger out like the barrel of a gun and snaps her fingers explosively, causing her to flinch and become visibly upset. Is that so? Then that makes it more impressive that you have been a part of it for so long, playing it as though it were one. I admire the fact that you are so tenacious to manage it all. You must be so responsible as well. Not as much as I would like to be. You can't complain about yourself though, can you? You're very responsible. Actions like requesting a deadline to be extended and then running all the way through to the next deadline. That's a very role model of responsibility. Shizune is very happy to hear that, but apparently you're pretty responsible yourself, she says. Does she really? More or less. Lee doesn't seem very happy. We're not holding a cookout. We're just taking a little lunch break. We're actually out here building stalls for the festival. You wouldn't know since you never go outside. Did you run out of Shizune is being bullied here right now. Are you going to town? Shopping? No, as I said before, I was just passing by. In case you did not hear, I would hate to interrupt the Student Council President. You're not doing anything now, but you must both be very busy. In any case, Hisao, I'm sure that the Student Council President will be able to find or make work for the both of you if she needs to. I'll devour you. That's another new look from Shizune. Yeah, very busy. Devour is a hard word. I'm pleased that I could read it. This isn't time to celebrate though. Not over that instead. It looks like they might stop squabbling. I would drink to that. Have a nice day, Hisao. Goodbye, Student Council President. Thanks. You too. Stay classy. Great. As soon as Lilly leaves, Shizune dives into the remains of her lunch as quickly as possible, as if each bite she shovels away is a means to forgetting any of this ever happened. Oh, great. When she is done, she heads right back to hammering with the same mindset. It's good that she's working off her frustration, but now it doesn't look like she is in any mood to talk anymore. Great. About 2 hours later, she stops, having mowed through the rest of the stalls non-stopping that time. It still feels hard to approach her, and I think about how easy a conversation can die. After it took so long to be able to get her alone and speak to her directly, it almost hurts. Your translation was good. How would you even know? Really? First, you're praising us too highly. She punctuates it with a thumbs up for your level. Thanks. There aren't many deaf people in the school, and sign language classes have been on the edge of getting cut for a while now. I sure don't have many classmates, am I right? If you're only learning sign language now, your speed is going to be limited. That is why interest in it wanes, because it takes more effort than normal just to communicate. I imagine it's the same with all languages. In such a situation, conversations in sign language are less than they would inherently be to start with. I don't understand that word. Less what? Spontaneous. Misha's the only person who could really capture it. Yeah, that's definitely true. Her expression changes for a second and changes back too quickly to digest, but I get a feeling this isn't meant to be pursued. What I really want to know about is, why do you and Lilly fight so much? Teasing a little? Sorry, tensing a little and visibly frowning. Shizune tensed her fingers and overlays and repeated as if shuffling an invisible deck of cards. 2 fights that you know of aren't worth calling so much. If you hadn't been there last year, you could say that. I heard it was a rough year. Something about how you tried to institute a badge policy. Surprise. Well, I want to hear more about that later, definitely, but you don't like... You don't like Lilly very much, do you? Don't dodge my question. I'm not dodging anything. She was part of the student council until last year. We don't get along very well. She wanted to keep doing things like the old student council did. The old student council was just so ineffectual. It was stupid and insulting. I wanted to do more when we had a fight. A lot of fights. She couldn't do anything on time. Then she said that what I wanted to do was meaningless, just extra busy work. Does this look like meaningless busy work to you? Shizune gestures around us. What's really meaningless is a student council that doesn't do anything. Weak, lazy, and boring. Especially boring. I couldn't get excited over sitting in a room with nothing to do. That's just a waste of time. Why would I even be there? It doesn't get my blood flowing. Arguing with her does that. If she could have been that motivated before, she wouldn't have to put so much dedication to be my enemy. But if she shows that much spirit, it's not a complete loss. At least it's something. It's still exciting. You enjoy having fights? I see. And what about the badge thing? She laughs, covering her mouth with her hand as if to hide it. Her laughter is the only thing she regularly tries to hide. That was just a joke. Having a little fun sometimes is important too. Yes, fun. Big amount of fun when it comes to this sort of arguing. Definitely not ideal. But on the bright side, at least we're not tripping over any more boxes that don't belong to us. The next day I end up having to hunt around a bit. At the start of lunch, when I found that my usual vending drink near the dormitory buildings is sold out of my usual favourite canned coffee, the detour takes longer than I expected. Things have been so hectic lately that it takes some time for me to register why something smells different as I walk through the school gardens back to the cafeteria. The grass has been freshly mowed. Nothing like the smell of freshly mowed grass. The realization makes me pause and watch for a bit. The old group of students chatting or playing around on the grass as I and a couple of teachers conversing on the path ahead make for a very idyllic scene. Unfortunately, a feeling of imminent dread starts creeping up on me after a while. The feeling that I'm not alone. Is that you, Misha? No, it's goddamn Kenji. When I get back to the cafeteria, exhausted but alive, I think of eating lunch with Shizune again, but find her sitting at a table with Misha already. If there were anyone else, I would think how they were too far away for me to hear them. This is Shizune and Misha, however. If I wanted to, I could eavesdrop on their conversation easily. Not a dirty thing to think about. But it's rare. I don't want to, though. They must have a lot of catching up to do. Even if it's only been a few days, I'm inclined to just leave them alone so they could just do that. However, the second they see me, they wave me over. Hi, Chan. Hearing her voice again even after a short time apart is jarring. These past few days I had forgotten that communication with Shizune is almost entirely silent, and concentrating on getting it right, I had tuned out even ambient noises. Well, I'll get used to it again. I'm glad she's back. I'm done making up all my work. Making up. Just in time, I wouldn't have to miss the festival. If they really tried to enforce that, I would pull you out of student council business. If they really tried to enforce that, you would pull me out of student council business? That's abuse of power. No, it isn't, Hai-chan. Shai-chan says if there were only 2 student council members overseeing the festival, it would be a problem, wouldn't it? Yeah, definitely. It has to be at least 3. It's for the good of everyone. It's personally reasonable. It's necessary. Shizune leans across the table a bit as Misha delivers her slightly disturbing, materialistic justifications in a childish, bubbly up and down tone. Shizune looks so happy, though tenting her fingers and trying to hold back a laugh as Misha pouts more seriously on her behalf. If you say so. I'm actually happy right now, though we could talk so easily to each other. All 3 of us. In the beginning I thought I might have to find myself in a bad situation. I was sure that Shizune would hate getting saddled with being tour guide for the new guy. I didn't want to be that kind of burden either. It would be awkward even if she weren't deaf and mute too. Just now... Okay, so I didn't even know that she was mute as well. Just now, she said that we would all have to be at the festival, the whole student council. I don't think the student council has any real jurisdiction over Tanabana. It's only Shizune's way of saying that she wants us to spend it together. God damn, I keep clicking off the screen. It's nice to have friends. It's a simple thought, but one that makes me genuinely happy that we could slip into being such with so much ease. Despite the roundabout way in which she said it, I'm glad that Shizune thinks it strongly enough to express it at all. Why did you wait until we waved you over to come sit with us? Oh, so you know. A question out of nowhere, Shizune's eyes are expectant as Misha repeats her message. I feel like teasing her. You want me to sit with you that badly? We're in the student council. We should sit together as much as possible. It's logic. I think you're getting your feelings confused. Anyone would jump at the chance to sit... Let's move on. She pauses in case I might say something like, "You're not very cute." Oh, burn! And it instantly locked myself into an obvious no-win situation. When I don't take the bait, Shizune becomes more energetic and continues. You're abnormal. Well, I didn't expect her to end like that. You're too quick to call other people abnormal. So arrogant. You're too quick to call people arrogant. That makes you arrogant. And arrogance is also abnormal. You're double abnormal. It doesn't work that way. It's a sliding scale. Lena R. Misha closed her eyes and lets out a low, slow laugh like a chuckle. Don't laugh. Don't laugh in this kind of situation. I notice that Misha signs everything I say to Shizune anyway, even though I'm signing myself. This is redundant, but it's an unconscious action for Misha. On the other hand, I can't stop. If I let myself take it easy and sign less just because Misha is back, then what was all this for? I don't want to risk losing familiarity with how to sign either. My hands are pretty slow to speak on my behalf as it is. Ai-chan, you and Shai-chan talk to each other much more now. Back and forth. It's really funny too. Like an old married couple, right? Right? What a loaded comment. In so many ways. Although because it's Misha, it can't have been on purpose. That's not a compliment. Shizune doesn't react to Misha trying to pair the two of us up. Maybe she didn't see it. Sometimes it does happen. I've noticed. I still wonder if it's really that simple, and why I care so much. But I don't want to think about it too hard. I want to leave. I keep thinking that I'm hogging Misha's time with Shizune, and it could be that Misha cut in just now on purpose, feeling that way too. I doubt that either of them will let me leave though. In some ways they're too nice. Anyway, Shizune, if you really want to know, I didn't want to sit here because I didn't want to intrude. I thought that because of Misha being away for supplementary lessons or whatever, you two would have to have a lot to talk about, and I should just leave you alone to catch up. That's why I thought I'd just hang back. Don't worry, Misha. I'm not trying to monopolize Shizune. Hi-chan, it's not like that. You're so considerate, Hi-chan. Shai-chan is sorry and apologizes. I don't think it's worth apologizing over, so don't worry about it. Hey, don't you both think that since Misha is back, we should go celebrate somehow? I think so. Ai-chan, usually having to make up work isn't something to celebrate over. No, it's a good idea. The timing is perfect, and Shizune said that the student council should have a little fun too sometimes. You probably heard that too, right, Misha? We should be fine. Actually, wait a second. Do you have to make up work because you were missing so many classes to begin with? So skipping out to celebrate would be kind of stupid. Maybe the timing isn't perfect, like I said, but we can go after school. Where shall we go? Misha speaks Shizune's question to her aloud before she even stops to think it over. Both of them completely ignore me. Hey, listen to me. Two-man short-sized student council team. Hi, Chan, you're a part of this team too. Yeah, I guess I am. yeah, you are, Hi, Chan. So forgetful and troublesome. I feel sorry for the girl who falls in love with you. Thanks. Although, if you don't know, this is a game, this is your route, so considering that how things have played out so far, it's definitely you to be the one. So, where do you think we should go? I'm laughing in spite of myself once to point out how Misha seems so enthusiastic now when she was the one who was most apprehensive about it just a few seconds ago. For whatever reason, I can't bring myself to do that, but this is okay too. After a short discussion of where to go, it seems like the only place all three of us know and are willing to travel to is Shanghai. A tea house doesn't look like a bad place to celebrate, especially because I'm sure they sell cake there, and cake is the most celebratory food. And crisps. I haven't seen Yuko in a while either, and neither of the girls. For all these reasons, plus the fact that it's so close, I end up standing in front of a little tea shop with Shizune and Misha before I know it. Hello, welcome! It's been a while since I heard Yuko's voice, so I'm surprised all over again by the energy she puts into her greetings, kind of like an extremely nervous Misha. Oh, hi, but we don't have to do that all the time if it's just us. It's part of my job. Yes, I do. But, okay, if you say so, Yuka. I take this moment to glance around the tea house and notice that it's empty as ever. It's lunchtime, essentially the peak hour for an establishment of this type, and yet it's as barren as ever. I don't understand. There has to be a reason for this. Shizune gently taps my arm to get my attention. What do you want to get? Yuka looks a little agitated after Misha automatically relays a question. No, I'm supposed to ask that. Is there anything that I can do for you? Just some coffee for now, I guess. Thanks. The dedication Yuka has towards her waitressing duties is sort of admirable. So is the speed at which she whisks slices of cake and our drinks to our table when we order. Hell yeah! Then again, we're the only customers here. Who knows what it would be like with a full house? Yeah, so we have a three of a kind and a no, this is not a card game. A three of a kind and a pair. There we go. Shizune and Misha immediately dig into their cakes with gusto, probably because they can't talk with utensils in their hands. The whole point of sharing a meal with friends like this is being able to talk over it. After all, it makes sense that it would be the same with them. I'm barely halfway through my cake when I hear their forks clean as they set them down on their empty plates. For goodness sakes, how do you eat so quickly? It's not healthy to inhale your food. It creates air bubbles inside you. Makes it very uncomfortable down below. You get passing wind inside you because you inhale air. Anyway, let's move on. Ha 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 ha. Ai-chan sounds like an old man. I cringe and instantly feel like I've been punched. Are you going to wear yukata tomorrow, Hai-chan? No, I don't even have one. Well, even if I did, I'm not the kind of guy who does stuff like that. Come on now, you gotta fit in with the tradition, don't stick out. What about you two? Are you two going to dress up? Of course. What do you mean, of course? You didn't dress up last time. One time is not a trend. It's a completely different situation anyway. Aside from not being Tanabata, the festival was on school grounds. Students should wear their uniform on school grounds. But not all students wore their school uniform on school grounds. Clearly a joke, her delivery isn't any different from the usual. This isn't normal, but her sense of humour never was. What do you mean, a sense of humour was never normal? Like, what can you define as a normal sense of humour? I guess her way of saying outrageous things seriously is a little better than if she were to say serious things outrageously. What's more troubling in any case is that I start to associate a voice with her signing, and its clash with how Misha says out louder than Shizune signs it anyway. I feel disorientated. I'll dress up this time. I'll dress up this time. You'll see, Hai-chan. Not just Sai-chan, but me too. Maybe I'll change my hairstyle too. Don't do that. I can't really imagine you looking differently. Shizune wags her finger and smiles. Such a quick and firm disapproval. What if I were to change my hairstyle? You've got a lack of hair to be able to customize your hair with, so it doesn't really work as well. Misha has long hair. She can customize it. Maybe you should grow your hair out and make it look like drills. She looks unamused. Luckily I see Yuko making her way over, likely to clear out plates or ask if we need anything else. Yuko, are you doing anything for Tanabata? Huh? It's like she was practicing how to most smoothly ask if I need a refill of coffee while walking over, but she has no idea what to do. Having been asked the question first, I feel bad. Yes, I'm working. Yuko, they're making work on holidays? Aww. We have the most business on holidays. Exactly. And sometimes tourists, I don't mind. I have to do my best. I understand completely. So admirable. Shizune nods her head in solidarity, feeling a kind of kinship with Yuko through their shared determination to be best. The best. Although for her, it's just a matter of pride, whereas Yuko might just feel that she really needs a job and maybe a raise. But most business, huh? So how many people on average during a holiday? Well... She goes away. Yuko walks away and starts cleaning a couple of swizzle sticks. This isn't polite. This is not what a proper waitress would do. Nevertheless, I sort of got my answer anyway. Clearly, business is scarce at best. I start to wonder again how the Shanghai remains open at all. Maybe this style of tea house is a trend that was outrageously successful before I got here, but isn't anymore, and they just keep getting it like this while they retool. Maybe the owner is rich and is involved in some sort of bet with someone else, or a crazy scheme to see who could lose the most money. Maybe I'm just conveniently miss mobs of customers by seconds each visit. Or maybe this place is just a front for arms. Wow. Since there's no one else here, why don't you sit down with us? We could talk about economic infeasibility, but Yuko doesn't take the bait, shaking her head from side to side empathetically. I've never really celebrated Tanabata before, or dressed up or anything like this. I'll finally be able to wear my yukata! Yay, yay! What do we never? What about last year? Last year, Shai-chan, me, and the Class 3-2 rep ran a stall for the festival. It was a sober stall, I think. Yeah, it was. Yep. But blind Class rep of 3-2 must be Lilly. I'm surprised we're able to work together or anything, but Mishu would likely be the best possible buffer for that kind of thing, with how innocent she is. Shai-chan cooked and Lilly took the orders, and I translated for them. Shai-chan kept saying it's so inefficient, Misha. Why do you have to be the middleman? As in, why is there a middleman in the first place? Huh? It would be fine if I did the cooking, you took the orders. It doesn't make sense at all. But I think everyone had fun in the end. Right, Shai-chan? Shizune adjusts her glasses grudgingly, causing Misha to break into laughter. It was the old student council's idea, that's why. So, what was the last student council like then? Shizune finally decides to step in again. It's more like she can't stop herself. Sorry, terrible. That was blunt. She ends with a choppy motion, as if passing judgment on them. I hope she's going to elaborate a little. At universities and some private schools, student councils can have control over millions of yen to budget and distribute as needed. Well, really? Millions? Alright. And they are much more involved in school activities too, Hai-chan. From Misha's tone, it seems like this is newer to her than it is to me. This school student council was like a joke in comparison. Don't give people positions of power. Don't give people positions of power if they don't have any power at all. What's the point? So, I wanted us to have more and more work. It was hard to convince the school and the other student council members to allow it. Actually, a lot of the work you've seen us do really is work that I took on, which is what Lilly was talking about. If it wasn't for Sai-chan, the student council would just file attendance reports day in, day out. Would you prefer that, Hai-chan? Of course, Hai-chan. As soon as their workload started going up, most of the student council stopped coming. Shizune's fingers fold over each other carefully. It's like she wants to add something, but she can't bring herself to. Like she said, sign language gives you a little more time to think about what you say. I guess she feels like she can't talk about this. Battle's been and this is now. Let's just have fun tomorrow. That is what she finally settles for. Yeah. Okay then. Student Council is adjourned for today. It has to be adjourned excitedly, because today was a good day. You and your continuous laughter. School seems to be over by the time we leave the tea house, as I can see students coming down from the school as we walk up the road towards it. A couple of people wearing our school uniform look at Shizune as she walks by, and I wonder if they recognize her as Student Council President or if their eyes are just being drawn to Misha's head. It's impossible not to overhear the chatter in the air. The topic is more often than not plans for Tanabata. I wonder how many of them will be using or going to the stores that I reassembled. It makes me feel a little pride and emotion I never felt during something for school. Maybe that's how Shizune feels as well. I almost want to ask, but it seems stupid to want to do so. So I just hold on to the fort as the three of us walk onto campus and then separate. Shizune to the student council room and Misha and me to our dorms. It isn't until they're gone that I realise I again didn't ask when and where they wanted to meet up tomorrow. That's very irresponsible of you to not ask them. Do you even have their contacts so that you can message them beforehand? I guess not. Phones are still something that Shizune can look at, although it can't emit sounds like emojis, like text, so she would always have to feel like vibration. A particular vibration means a certain something. One is a call and one is a text. Even though it is a holiday, I wake up at the same time as usual on a day when everyone else is likely sleeping in for another 6 hours. I take my morning regime of pills for the first time in a few days. Admittedly, I'll let my medication slip my... Don't! Looking at a row of bottles in front of me, I don't know how I managed to. 17 different medications. I feel full enough to skip breakfast after taking all of them. I'm already up, so I might as well take a walk. Let's see what happens when we go out for a walk. We're not going to bump into Shizune now, are we? The weather looks nice outside, giving off an idyllic atmosphere I often dreamed of. It's always been kind of a romantic notion to me to be able to meander around in the countryside, taking in the fresh air. Now the opportunity to do so, that is here. You just that is here. I can't resist, even though I know it must seem silly. I stop at the main building in order to buy a drink, and then decide to enter it and maybe hang around the roof a little bit. The view might be pretty cool at this time, and I'm sure that nobody else will be up there either, and I've never been up there by myself. The school is quiet today, deserted. My footsteps echoing the staircase to the roof are unnervingly loud. It shouldn't bother me due to how much time I've spent in sign language class in near total silence, working so much with Shizune lately, but it still does. It makes the smallest noises that I wouldn't have even noticed before seem boomingly loud. It feels like I'm sneaking around some place I shouldn't be. We sneak around a museum at night and trying to steal the greatest artifact that it has, while trying to dodge all the laser sensors. I wonder why I'm getting that vibe. Maybe the school is haunted or something. When I open the door to the roof, I see I'm not alone. Misha leans against the fence, looking over school grounds, not having noticed me at all. Instantly I know what I have to do. I have to put my hands over her eyes and say, "Guess who?" It's the only option. Halfway, I start thinking of how bad this would look if Shizune suddenly popped in, having just left for a second to get some sandwiches and saw me sneak on a Misha like that. I pray silently such a coincidental misunderstanding doesn't happen. "Guess who?" "Hi, Jan!" She says without hesitating for a second, without deviating even slightly from her normal tone. My fun was over before it started. Hi, Jan. Good morning." She reflectively tries to move her hands to form a greeting and entangles them in the fencing. "Good morning. I didn't expect to find you here. What are you doing up here so early?" "I could ask you the same thing, Hai-chan. What are you doing up here so early? I didn't expect to find you here." "I asked you first." You're right." "You sound just like Sai-chan." "No, I don't." I say it in the least convincing manner possible. Luckily, Misha doesn't notice what a bad actor I am. "Are you looking forward to tonight?" Of course, Hai-chan. I don't like celebrations, or maybe not as much as Schlei-chan does, but Tanabata stands always have interesting things to buy and all kinds of seasonal food, and I get to wear a yukata. Her choice of words is a little strange. It sounds like she's saying that she doesn't like celebrations, but likes doing everything involved with them. I don't know if it's worth pursuing though, and it could be just that I misunderstood. What about you, Hai-chan? I am, or else I'd just stay home. Wouldn't I? That's a logical step. Hai-chan, you're not that logical, so that's really surprising. Okay though, I was just making sure, because you don't look like you were having a lot of fun last time. Me and Shai-chan were a little worried because of that. Hey, I had fun. I guess I appreciated it more than I expected to. Really, Hai-chan? What part of it? Tell me. Well, there were fireworks at the end. They were really nice. I think he slept through them. I always fall asleep early, but I won't sleep through them this year. I'll definitely stay awake, yeah, right. I don't think they have fireworks during Tanabata. It's a different mood entirely. Maybe we could get Shizune to petition them to have them, though, and to move the fireworks to an earlier time. Maybe I will. That's a great idea, Hai-chan. No, it's not. Don't do that. I wasn't being serious. Although, maybe would annoy Shizune. You make it sound like you would like that, Hai-chan. Hai-chan, do you like Sai-chan? I can't say yes or no and sitting down like I am. I can't even smoothly leave. Don't be silly. The one I like is... Whoa. Really, Hai-chan? No, you're kidding, right? You must like Sai-chan more. Misha, you jump to conclusions too much. But you almost called her Sai-chan, so... I'm right, right? It's because you call her Sai-chan all the time. It's got stuck in my head. Osmosine. Language is common, you know. Besides, it's one little slip-up. And by your logic, you should like her more than me. And... Are you making fun of me or something? Maybe. I'm hungry. Did you eat breakfast, Ai-chan? No, just medicine. Misha twirls her fingers lazily in the air to keep her hands busy as she thinks. We should eat something then. Do you think there'll be something breakfast today? That's really the kind of thing a member of the student council should know. I can't say that, though. I'm on the student council and don't know. Exactly, it's ironic. It didn't seem like anyone was working the kitchen when I entered the building, but I don't know for sure. Hey, Hai-chan. Have you ever heard about those vending machines that you could get food from? Like burgers, soups, and even pizza? How do you get pizza from a vending machine? Soup, they come in a can. Burgers, they come in a little, like, plastic wrap. But pizza, for goodness sakes. Maybe a slice of pizza. Wouldn't it be great if we had some of those at our school? I don't know. I always thought those machines were kind of weird. Imagine how cool it would be if we had machines like that at our school, Hai-chan. It would almost be like magic, wouldn't it? No, pre-processed food is not good for you. Hot food coming out of a vending machine? That's so amazing. I could never imagine that. Seeing one of those machines would be like a dream. We don't have machines like that in the whole town, though. It's too early to even go into town. I won't be able to eat breakfast, Hai-chan. That's the most important meal of the day. Everyone says so. Oh, I want to eat. You're really silly. If it bothers you so much, I'll buy you a soda. Misha puffs out her cheeks and puts on a serious face. Hai-chan, a soda is not a breakfast. It's like water. It's sugarized water. It's not like water. It's a liquid. Water isn't food. Liquid can be food. Like soup. Now, who sounds like Shizune, Misha? I want to say it. Even her tone reminds me of Shizune's unblinking, matter-of-fact way of stating the ridiculous but obvious. If I did say that, though, I would be the one who sounds like Shizune again. It's terrible. Her competitiveness is really rubbing off on me. Let's look for something to eat, then. Okay. You wanted to say something, but quickly withdrew from it. Predictably, our search for food in an empty school building this early in the morning leads only to failure. Misha decides to go off on her own after we both decide to give up for now, vowing to eat breakfast even though by now it's closer to time for brunch. I go back to my dorm, the following hours take by studying, I pass the time by catching up on my reading. Some of these books I haven't touched since I was in hospital. Thinking back on it, it wasn't that long ago, even though it definitely feels like it was. A free day, and I can't think of anything to do. I take a short nap, and as I change for the second time today, I realise I never actually confirmed with Shizune or Misha when and where we would meet up. I guess that eventually they would come looking for me, but I would look pretty stupid if it came to that. It's already evening, so I should at least make an effort to go find them first. Even though the grounds aren't exactly full of people and it should be impossible to miss Misha's pink hair even if they were, I have a lot of difficulty finding them. Finally, I run into them at the front gate, which was the first place I'd looked. Hello there! Okay folks, we're going to be going back to this in the next time because this is a very good way to both end an episode and start one actually. Shizune in a completely different uniform in a yukata. Thank you so much for watching. What was it? Kimono. Thank you so much for watching guys, and see you all in the next time with Katawa Shoujo. This route has definitely developed a little bit from here on out. Misha really has to spill the beans that, well, we are kind of learning sign language for both our own benefits and for Shizune to be able to speak to another person. Thank you so much for watching and take care of yourselves.